Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you about the idea of getting out of your own way when creating content on social media. So, I know a lot of real estate agents, especially the ones that I've worked with, definitely have this issue. Most, I would say, have this issue, probably 70 to 80% of the folks I chat with. And that makes sense because most of us didn't jump into real estate to be on camera or to be posting every single day. That's really been a more recent thing that has kind of become a marketing necessity. And so I want to talk about some things that hopefully will get you out of your own head and hopefully motivate you to get on camera, as it's just widely important. So with that, let's jump into it. So like I said, I hear all the time, quote, I don't want to be on camera, or I'm not good on camera, or it's not my skill set. I just don't want it. I don't want my personal life out there. All this kind of stuff, which I think are fair sentiments. But the problem is that this is definitely a limiting belief, and it's not really true. Especially when folks say they might not want to be on camera. That might be true. But when folks say, I'm not good on camera, or yeah, well, I need to, do hair and makeup or all that stuff. Or I've even had this happen one time. Somebody's like, yeah, well, I'm in the middle of like a weight loss journey. Let me, lose 10, 20 pounds and then we'll talk. The problem with that is you're essentially giving yourself an out, and that just only robs you of the opportunity to use the best vehicle that we've had for cold marketing, I would argue, ever. It's completely free to utilize social media, and yet a lot of agents feel like they can't because of these limiting beliefs. So my goal here today is to kind of walk through 4 big reasons, more motivational points that would hopefully get you to start to create some content that features you yourself in a video context with social media, because again, it is just widely not only the best way to utilize social media, but I think the best way to utilize free marketing possible. So let's jump into it. So the first reason you really want to be on video, specifically with social media. A lot of us understand social media's benefit, but the benefit of video is that there is kind of this race going on between the social media platforms for short form content. TikTok really changed the game there, showed how widely available and, or I should say widely wanted the short form content, video content is. And so now that the floodgates have been open, all of the platforms are rolling this out. So you can see this very widely with just the past couple years. There's been the release of YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and of course TikTok has just been around for longer than that. But there is a massive race to kind of be who can be the primary platform for the short form content. And so when you utilize this, you are going to get better distribution on these platforms than if you do any other form of content. And the reason is because they have to be competitive with each other. They're all fighting for your time and attention. And now that they're all investing in short form content, that means they all have to invest more in short form content. It's kind of this compounding effect. And so you will get better distribution. You'll get more bang for your buck. And in real estate, we need to get as much out of the time that we spend doing marketing as possible. So this is by far the best way to utilize social media. All of the clients that I work with, we recommend a full short form content strategy. They might do a little bit of other stuff, but all of our efforts for them are on short form because that is where the real return is. So how do you get out of your own way? Well, the first one thing I want to talk about is how nobody cares. And this is probably the most important, that nobody cares about your hair, about your makeup, about your lighting, about your sound. Sometimes that one's a little different. Nobody watches content purely because of the attractiveness of the person on there. We can go through a ton of creators who have massive audiences who are not that attractive. Casey Neistat, Gary Vee, and nothing against those guys. Obviously, I don't, that's, my point here is that that's not important to be like some model-esque figure. And really, if we're being honest here, if you did have the time and the effort to do your makeup, have great lighting, all that stuff, how much time would that take away from creating content? You could create 3 videos or one better video, a video that's maybe 3 times as good than one video that you were able to create after spending an hour doing all this lighting and makeup and all that stuff. So not only does nobody care about how you look, but on top of that, you are wasting time spending, precious hours making yourself ready and presentable for a video. And then at that point, you might not even be in the mood as much to record something anyway. So it actually is counterintuitive to be focusing too much on your looks with social media. And I know people are going to say, well, when I want to I want to represent my best self, and I want to, look good and professional. Well, you can look professional without spending hours doing, makeup and all that stuff. Just put on like a blazer or a sports coat or something, and then just don't be in like a background that looks like you're in a basement, like I am. There are a lot of ways to look presentable without having to, get in your head about that. But a great example of this is when we watch reality TV, right? And I always think of like the like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, right? So there are many scenes in every episode where the camera crew is just in their kitchen or in their bedroom, whatever, and they're getting ready for an event, or they're just woke up or something because it's reality TV. And even though all of that's actually scripted, they're still walking with no makeup on, and they're just hanging out, and they're not doing anything. Like they're not presentable, and that's a TV show that's getting distributed to millions and millions of viewers, a massive audience every single episode. And so they don't care. And those people are often considered still to be some of the most beautiful people in the world. So my point is that, they don't look like, they do on the runway or they do in like, Vogue or whatever all the time. And they're okay with that. And then they jump on camera even when they don't look like that. And they might look very much so not as presentable as when you see them like on the red carpet or something, but they still are on there and nobody cares and nobody thinks that they're unattractive for it. So get out of your own way about that. That's one of the best pieces of advice I can give you. Moving on, when most people who are going to be watching this and kind of benefiting from it, you probably have objectively a small audience. And that's okay. We all start there. Everyone starts with a small audience, but you probably have like max, maybe 1,000 people across all platforms combined who are your followers, and maybe you have 1,000 on each platform. But even then, every one of your posts is only going to be seen by a fragment of your audience. Now, if you're doing video content, it's going to be seen by a bigger fragment of your audience than any other content, which is why short form video content is so helpful. But either way, you're only going to get seen, by maybe 1,000 people when you're starting out, and that's great because you can get your bearings, get used to making content and get better, which is awesome. It's a great place to kind of learn and hone your craft. But also too, it's like, you're not really getting seen by that many people anyway. And that person's going to giving you a fragment of their attention before they swipe on to something else. So we spend so much time worrying about what if somebody sees me looking unpresentable or not in perfect, lighting and all that kind of stuff. And yet it's not even on their radar. So that's really important with your small audience, especially as you're starting out. It's even more minimized than somebody like the Kardashians who are on a massive stage. So it's a great time if you're kind of newer to get into the habit of doing this, and the more you do it, the better it's going to feel. 3, if you really, really struggle with like your friends or your family seeing you, most of us don't really worry too much about strangers seeing us for the first time if it's, not super presentable, but we worry about what our friends and family are going to think. And I don't always recommend this because it's kind of like starting from zero, but if you really can't get out of your own way and your mindset about, being seen by your friends and family and being like, oh, if I put up this video, are my friends, from high school who I never talked to and I will never see again, gonna care about this? If that's a huge issue, just start a new account. Start a new account and don't have any of your friends or family on it. Keep your normal account and then make your new account and just don't add any friends or family. Like, then that way you have no actual hindrance if friends and family, your peers, are what's stopping you from actually moving forward. And the last thing here is post first, delete later. So I always say too, it's like, hey, let's just post the content. Let's see how it does. Because that's the issue, is that a lot of us spend time, understand the value, we think about the content to make, we spend all this time and effort, and then we never post it, which is the worst case scenario. It's better to never do anything social media wise than to put in all the effort and never end up posting it. So what I say, film selfie style, record yourself, talk about the content, maybe take 2 takes and then see which one you like more, and then just post it. Don't even think about it. Don't worry about captions. Don't worry about editing. All that stuff you can, get into later. But right now we're just kind of building the skill set of posting. And so just post all this stuff, delete later. And you'll find oftentimes that when we tell folks like, hey, we'll post it. And if it's really bad and you don't like it, we'll delete it, right? Usually people don't want to delete it. And so it's kind of great because if you give yourself permission, if you really want to delete it after it's up, maybe give yourself 24 hours, then you can delete it afterward. That's totally fine. But if you start off with just posting it first, oftentimes you'll find it really wasn't that big of a deal anyway. And it's still moving you in the right direction. It's getting in front of the folks that you need to get in front of. It's projecting value into your prospective clients. And that is all really, really great stuff that kind of adds one more brick in the foundation of your social media audience. So guys, I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments anything that I can talk about in future videos and answer your questions. And again, as you know, we don't advertise this content. We're just trying to help as many real estate agents as possible for free. So if you found this, if somebody shared this with you, pass it on that tradition and share it with somebody else so we can help as many folks as possible. Thanks guys, and have a great one.